Hello everyone, it's Yoshua and your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting live stream. In this video, I'm going to be talking about June 8th, 2019. Today is my first official day of work, working for Millennium as a part of CCRE. I mean, technically, I got a promotion um, from my original position at CCRE, and I'm working with Millennium on contract. But the way that they treat it is more or less like I'm just an employee of Millennium. I went in for my first day of work. Long story short, I have to learn a bunch of new programming languages in the next 2 weeks and deliver a couple of programs written in said languages, which I'm pretty excited about. The programs themselves are fairly simple, but of course, the learning curve will be actually learning how to use those languages, and the programs of which I'm going to submit are going to be a part of a bigger program that I'm going to be making along the course of my working for Millennium. But the big thing that I learned is that I don't actually work on site at Millennium. I'm going to be working from home. So I actually will be able to go to bed, wake up, and I'm pretty much just at work. I don't have to get in my car and drive all the way to Millennium, which is what I did today. I can just kind of wake up, get on my laptop, and just start working. Shuri-chan said yesterday was Killua's birthday, hitting us up with these anime birthday facts. Yo, Shuri, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? Do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Also, what are some other anime character birthdays that you happen to know off the top of your head? But anyway, Shuri-chan, welcome. It's good to have you. But yeah, that was the big thing that I did today was, start my first day of Millennium, learn that I work from home, and I texted with Beth throughout the day, of course. I just started doing a little bit of writing right before I started the vlog. I have an idea for a character, and right now I'm writing out things about his villains that he'll face off against, and I'm pretty excited about that idea. I'm not exactly sure if I'm gonna actually use the character that I thought about, or just use that character's villains. I'm actually still trying to figure that out. Because so far I've done a different hero every time for my superpower battles book series. But then I'm like, man, if I had a character who had this one power, there are all these different villains that I could make that could kind of counter their power and have really interesting fights based around them trying to overcome these villains. But I'm not sure if I want to actually pair the villains with the hero or just have the villains face off against other people and then maybe in the future do a book where that hero faces off against those villains. So I'm still trying to figure that out at the moment. Let's see. So right now I'm actually typing out stuff about those villains while I'm doing the stream. Speaking of the stream, I need to get the live chat set up on my TA. Let's see. So I'm getting live events pulled up. That way I'll be able to see everything that you all are saying in the live chat. Uh, the picture's so weird that I did the thumbnail for this one. It's at an elevated angle, and I took it in a more lit space, but I think the angle's kind of awkward. The head-on I think works a little bit better, but it's whatever. It's a weird picture. I don't know. I feel like I could have done that thumbnail a little bit better. Oh, YouTube censored your first message, Sherry Chan. I just saw that. I was surprised because it was a reveal. That was pretty nice. Let's see. But yeah, have you been, Sherry Chan? Welcome. It's good to have you. Let's see. Taser Whip. I'm currently setting up these abilities for the villains. Sherry Chan said, of course I know Goku's birthday, April 16th. He said, I celebrated that awesome day. What'd you do for Goku's birthday? What'd you do to celebrate that wondrous occasion? Let's see, Taser Whip. Let's see. Trying to think of other things that I'd like to talk about on the vlog, other than, of course, the base experience of what I did today. I guess I would give some advice to people on what they can try and do or avoid doing on their first day of work. One thing to expect on your first day of work is to maybe have part of the day be kind of slow, but for the day to gradually speed up. I say that because when you first go into work, you may not immediately get the task that you're supposed to be doing. Like, it might be a little bit of, hey, we got other stuff going on in the office. Maybe you'll sit on a meeting or something like that. But eventually, we'll tell you what your actual task is, and then once you know that, you'll be able to get the ball rolling. Especially if your first day involves like an orientation. My goodness, that can take like a good minute. So, it might start a little slow, but it'll pick up once you get your job. Shuri Chan said it seems like he's gay for Goku. That is a very interesting setup. Is that how you celebrated his birthday? I don't fully understand that comment, but that's interesting. I mean, I'm glad that you're a fan like Goku and Dragon Ball. I know I'm definitely also a fan of Goku and Dragon Ball. I've recently been getting really into One Punch Man. I'm reading the web comic for One Punch Man. I'm actually on chapter 102 at the moment, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm trying to get caught up with the webcomic because it's significantly ahead of where the anime is at currently. Let's see. I lost track of what I was talking about before. And, hmm, Dragon Ball transitioned into One Punch Man. Before that, I was thinking about the superhero, supervillain thing that I'm writing currently. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. I'm still writing down ideas. My bad. So, okay. So now that I've written down ideas, Shuri-chan said, no, I like him a lot as a real person. Well, I'm glad that you really like Goku and that like you really vibe with him. That's totally fine. Um, oh, I learned a cool thing about Ben 10 recently that I'd like to talk about real quick. Also, I saw Spider-Man Far From Home. No spoilers. I'm just gonna tell you guys my thoughts on the movie. Okay movie. Like if I had to pick between bad, okay, or good, I'd say Spider-Man Far From Home is an okay film. I think the start of the film is kind of slow, but I think as the film progresses, it gets better and better. I do still have my problems with the movie. However, if I were to discuss that, that'd be in spoiler territory, which I'm not going to do right now unless it was like requested. Um, but yeah, no spoilers at this moment. Spider-Man: Far From Home was an okay film. It definitely has its problems, but it definitely also has its pluses. I'd recommend seeing it. Good movie. And then to the Ben 10 thing I was gonna say. So as I've already talked about in past videos, this is Glitch. Glitch is Ben's weird alien son in the reboot. It's like half Ben's DNA, half Upgrade's DNA. Right now in the show, Glitch inhabits a go kart that Ben has, and he's essentially like Ben's Batmobile equivalent that he can summon using an app on his phone. Now, the cool thing about Glitch that I learned about recently is that whenever Ben transforms into an alien while he's riding inside of Glitch in his car form by the time, Glitch in his car form, by the way, is called the Rust Buggy. But when Ben is riding in the Rust Buggy and he transforms into an alien, the Rust Buggy also transforms and takes on the car-like appearance of the alien that he transformed into, and has the powers and abilities of that alien. So when Ben turns into Heat Blast while riding in the Rust Buggy takes on like a volcanic, like magma look, and it has the ability to like shoot fire. And I was like, ooh, that's really cool. That's I'm like, that's one of the coolest things that they've like introduced to the show, is the concept that he has a car that transforms with him and also gets the powers and is also sentient and is also his son. I'm like, that's really crazy. Gotta love it. It's actually just a really cool idea. At first, I thought it was weird that they made Ben's weird half alien like hybrid into a car. I was like, that seems like wasted potential for the character. Now I'm like, a car that also changes when Ben changes and is self driving and is sentient. Like, ooh, this is just cool as fuck. That's just a nice concept. Shuri said, "Damn, I know. That's just really fresh. I like it." Because I don't think I've really seen anything else like that. Because that essentially means that Ben has 11 different alien powered cars. Because the Rust Buggy, in its own right, already has the abilities of like upgrade, but it also then has the abilities of Ben's 10 other aliens. Because Ben doesn't currently have upgrade in the reboot. So I'm like, ooh, nice, nice. I like that. But yeah, I've been wanting to talk about that for a hot minute. Also, let's see. Shuri Chen said, "Want to fight in Ultimate? Want to fight in Ultimate? Do you mean like Ultimate, as in like Benton Ultimate Alien? Oh, you mean Smash Ultimate, like Smash Brothers Ultimate? I don't actually have a Nintendo Switch. I'm actually not a big Nintendo fan. I will say the Nintendo Switch has quite a few banger exclusives, like Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Smash Ultimate. But I personally have just never been a big like Nintendo guy, so I haven't really been motivated to get a Nintendo Switch. Now, if the Nintendo Switch had really good streaming capability, like you could, in the same way with the PS4, with the push of a button, live stream Nintendo Switch gameplay to YouTube, then I think I'd be like, ooh, Nintendo Switch. But until they have like some good ass like sharing capabilities through Nintendo Switch, I'm not really that interested. Shuri Chan said, I have Xenoverse 2. So Xenoverse 2 I actually was kind of disappointed in. So I also got Xenoverse 2. Um, I can't stream it on PS4. I know I was just bragging about how easy it is to stream on PS4, but there are certain games that PS4 refuses to stream on YouTube, and you can only stream on Twitch. So if I wanted to ever stream Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, I'd have to get a Twitch account, and then I'd have to stream via the Twitch account, and I can't go for that. No, I don't fuck with Twitch. So I'm actually hyped for Google Stadia. So Google Stadia is a new Google online like video game service where you can stream games and stuff like that. And it's for free if you just want to buy the games and you don't want to have like any additional crazy perks. And it can work on my Chromebook, which is nice. Um, so I'm probably gonna buy Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 on Google Stadia, as long as it's because Google Stadia has built-in YouTube streaming, which I'm kind of hyped for. So I wouldn't mind getting Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 on Stadia and then streaming it. I feel like it'll be a lot easier to stream on Stadia, and a lot easier to play on Stadia. So probably gonna buy it there. Shuri-chan said, yeah, Xenoverse 2 is kind of bad. Says the AI sucks. And then he said, depression. I'm the only one here. Oh, no problem, Shuri-chan. I imagine there are multiple reasons why people may not have tuned in. And I'll actually hit you up with the multiple reasons. So, reason number one, I think the thumbnail for this video is really weird. It doesn't have the same lighting or appearance as the other thumbnails, because the other thumbnails are done in this room. I did that thumbnail in a different room. So people are used to seeing this, and not like whatever the heck that thumbnail picture is. I actually really don't like that thumbnail picture. But the thumbnail looks different. YouTube is bad about notifications, so not everybody's going to get the notification, which is sad but true. Um, I haven't streamed in a few days. So me not streaming in a few days, people may not know that like, hey, I'm back on schedule. I'm actually not missing a stream this time, guys. But, it happens. I feel like once this video is out there, people will be able to tune in easier. Like, people will probably see this after it comes out. Shuri-chan said, yeah, I got confused on the thumbnail. Interesting. So, yeah, does it look less like me in the thumbnail? It is just a different angle for the shot. I was trying to do something different, but I think it kind of turned out ugly. Shuri-chan said, hey, do you have Discord? I'm not a fan of Discord. Feel free to hit me up on Amino, which you're on the Amino. Yeah, you know about it. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Discord. I don't really like it. I feel like Amino lets you do a lot with the greatest of ease, and I really like using Amino on mobile and on desktop. Discord, I don't know. To me, it's too bland for what it is. There are things you can do on Discord that you can't do on Amino, but they're not things that I particularly care for or about. So I kind of like Amino. And then Shuri-chan says the picture looks less like you. Understandable. Yeah, I guess it's the angle and the lighting. It does look weird. So I imagine the thumbnail, the fact I haven't uploaded in a while, um, and YouTube notifications kind of sucking would be reasons why people may not tune into this immediately. Plus, I only have the one piece sign instead of the two. I mean, the incomplete package. See, what I just did probably would have been a better thumbnail, no lie. Um, what am I thinking about? I know one thing I'm thinking about. I keep clapping whenever I'm like trying to remember something, but I know Dad sometimes likes to tune into these videos and watch them later, and his ears hurt from certain sounds. I need to cut out that clapping, because I know he wouldn't really appreciate that. But I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm just thinking. Let's see. So what am I thinking about? Let's see. So Shuri-chan said, I'm making two more OCs, or OGs. I mean, OGs is short for like originals, so that's fair. That also works. And OCs is short for original characters. They're both like the same length. You can kind of use either one. They essentially end up meaning the same thing. Let's see. I'm also working on like original characters. Like I said, I'm working on different villain concepts. Let's see. So I'm not gonna have that he can safely leave the phenomenon contained in monsters. So, what I currently have are a series of like pre-write outlines for superhero stories, and I've written two books recently, Superpower Battles Volume 1 and 2, and they both are inspired by like Silver Age superhero stories. And essentially, this pre write outline thing that I've like written up um, allows me to brainstorm ideas for different like hero and villain concepts for stories, as well as to kind of plan out some of the beats, like the story beats of these superhero stories, so that when I write, I kind of already have my ideas together, and I can just jump in and refer back to those pre-write notes, and just go like, oh yeah, like I already planned for it to be like this and for this to happen, and the stories will sometimes vary a little bit from the pre-write. Shuri-chan said, I'm making villains. Okay, cool. So it seems like we're both working on villains right now. I've just written out a couple concepts for villains, just doing like name, offensive power, and defensive power. That's been a recent thing for me, as I'm trying to make more characters that have more than one ability. Felix. Oh, yo! That's your boy Kevin. Yo, Kevin. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Kevin said, beard going strong. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, how you been? It's good to hear from you. Do you have a good 4th of July? Also, when is your birthday? I imagine I might have missed your birthday, so I'd want to hit you up with that happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. Bruh, 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 bruh. And if I haven't missed your birthday yet, happy early birthday. Bruh, 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 bruh. And even if I haven't missed your birthday this year, I imagine I may have missed a past birthday. And in that case, I would say, happy late birthday from the past birthdays. Sorry about that. But yeah, how have you been? Shuri-chan said, yes, I'm not the only one. You are right. Now your boy Kevin is also here. Speaking of which, Kevin, don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Do. Pretty much Shuri-chan and I are just talking about creative writing. We're both trying to create like new villain characters for stories and stuff like that. Thank you for smashing that like button, by the way, Kevin. Truly appreciate it. Right now, Dad's about to copyright strike me really hard. is just the strongest of copyright strikes. It's coming. But yeah, what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, we're talking about creative writing right now. We're both like coming up with villain ideas. I'm writing mine down for volume 3 of a superhero short story book that I'm working on. Volume 1 and 2 are already out on Amazon, by the way, if you're interested. Superpower Battles, Volume 1 and 2. Volume 2 will soon be available in paperback. Right now, Volume 2 is only available as an ebook, but like I said, they're all on Amazon if you want to check them out. Um, but I have inspiration for new villain ideas based off of a hero that I want to start writing about, and I've thought about villains whose abilities can like counter the heroes, and I'm currently making the villains. I'm really on the fence about whether or not I actually want to write about the hero, um, because I've been really enjoying writing stories that have had like a different hero and villain each story. I'm not sure if I actually want to do like a long running thing with one hero. Shuri Chen said, my villain is a human wolf because my OC is a Neko, aka a human cat. So you feel like a human wolf would be a counter to like a human cat? I mean, a wolf versus a cat seems like a big difference, unless it's like a big cat. You know what I mean? Then your boy Kevin said, villain stories always seem cooler. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know of a single villain story that I would consider being solely a villain story. You know what I mean? Because a lot of villain stories are really based around the villain and his conflict against the hero. Um, so I think it's kind of eh. I know there's a new Joker movie coming out, and I think that's gonna be like a villain-centric story, where the villain is legitimately the main character, and you don't really have a superhero to oppose him. But there are a lot of stories back in the day, like superhero stories, that would start off with the villain, and you follow the villain for like the majority of the story until the hero comes in and beats them. And I still consider those to be superhero stories. You know what I mean? Um, the villain, I don't feel like, even if you follow them for a long period of the story, still doesn't seem to be the centerpiece of those stories, which I know sounds weird. I know in Batman the Animated Series that was like a big thing. They would really focus on the villain, but in the end, Batman still comes in and he still kind of like takes the show. You know what I mean? Oh, Kevin. Speaking of like superheroes and supervillains and stuff like that, I have a question for you. Did you see Spider-Man: Far From Home? And if you did, what were your thoughts on it? No spoilers. I've seen it, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. Earlier, I was talking about that film, and I said I thought it was like okay. Like if I was to give a rating, bad, okay, or good, I'd give it okay. Um, I feel like it's slow. It was kind of slow progressing, but once it picked up, and it got a lot better. And I do agree that it's better for a movie to slowly get better than for a movie to slowly get worse. So I'm glad it got better as it progressed, but it's still kind of like, eh. I'd say okay. Definitely worth seeing. Not a bad film. Enjoyed it. It has its pluses, but it also has its eh. But I can't really get into that without going into the spoilers, so I won't. Kevin said I was actually going to see it tonight. Solid. I hope you enjoy it. Definitely like a good movie. I dig it. Shuri Chen said, and the other villain, Shuri Chen's talking about another villain that he's working on. He said, looks human, but transform into something that swallows humans whole. And he said his inspiration for it is Majin Buu, because of the fact that it like eats a human. I mean, I think it's interesting that your inspiration is Majin Buu for eating humans. Because if I was to think of any Dragon Ball villain and directly associate them with eating people, I would think about Cell. I know that Cell eats people with his tail, but it feels more like eating a person than Boo, because Boo will like turn them into other things. He'll turn them into candy and eat them. You know what I mean? Kevin said, but I've pretty much seen it. All, I've pretty much seen it all via trailers and Reddit comments. And then Kevin said, Majin Buu, nice. So this isn't a spoiler. Um, the trailers from Spider-Man: Far From Home, for the most part, show footage that's not really in the movie. Again, that's not really a spoiler, but the creator of the film, well, the director of the film, has stated that those scenes are actually from a short film that's going to be included in the DVD for Spider-Man: Far From Home. Now, I'm not saying all the footage from all the trailers are from that short film. But depending on which trailers you saw, you more than likely saw scenes that just aren't in the film at all. So don't think you can just like look at those trailers and know exactly what's going to be in the movie, if that makes sense. Shuri Chin said, "Oh, and probably Cell." He said, "I love Cell as my favorite villain." Oh, okay. Favorite villain of all time or favorite Dragon Ball villain? I really like Garlic Jr. Mainly because Garlic Jr. Has really good powers and almost won. I feel like Garlic Jr. could have very easily won. And Goku Black, but Goku Black is kind of like, I feel like heavily inspired by Garlic Jr. Just saying they're very similar when they come to like villains. But I'd say those two are probably my favorite. Shuri Chen said, "Oh, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot." He said the gameplay is dope. So I honestly would have preferred Xenoverse 3. I am not very hyped for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Um, I'm just not. Um, the Dragon Ball games that I want to see come out, I think Xenoverse 3 could have been pretty dope. Not gonna lie. Um, Especially if they're like, hey, all the content from Xenoverse 2 plus like a brand new story, plus we're gonna tie in all the like new stuff that's come out. Oh man, original story written by Akira Toriyama. There's a lot they could have done with it. They could have been like, oh, stuff from Super Dragon Ball Heroes is mixed in. I would have actually really liked that. Shuri-chan said favorite of all time. Cell? That's interesting. Kevin said, I wonder if the creator pulled inspiration from Goku's when he made Goku Black. Pulled inspiration from Goku possessive, but then not a thing that he owns when he made Goku Black. Kevin, are you aware of the character Goku Black? Then Shuri-chan said, no, Goku Black. Then Kevin put like a little asterisk. He said, I wonder if the creator pulled inspiration from Goku when he made Goku Black. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's also made by Akira Toriyama, so that makes sense. Kevin, have you watched Dragon Ball Super or checked out the Dragon Ball Super manga? I'm currently caught up on the manga. I did watch through the anime, but I didn't watch the English dub. I watched it while it was still in Japanese. I read subtitles, which I'm not really a fan of doing, but I wasn't going to wait on the English dub. It seemed like it was going to take too long to come out. Shuri-chan said, I don't really like Dragon Ball Heroes. So I think Dragon Ball Heroes is interesting, to say the least. I read a little bit of the manga, but I didn't get like super into it. Kevin said it's a joke because they're the exact same characters. I mean, yes and no. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from though. Oh yeah, I was talking about Super Dragon Ball Heroes. So Dragon Ball Heroes, some of the manga I actually really like. I like the idea that the manga sets it up as like it's a game manga. It's about kids who play a game that lets them kind of enter the Dragon Ball world and fight alongside its characters. So it has like elements of like game anime, similar to like Chaotix, stuff like that. But it also has elements of Dragon Ball, and I really like it when they set it up like that. I'm not really a fan of Dragon Ball Heroes when they're like, it's essentially just fan fiction. Like, I'm not as into that. I like specifically when they're like, they're kids playing a game that lets them kind of enter this other world. I think that's kind of dope. Shuri-chan said, I finished the manga so far. Same here. Internet fist bump. Let's see. What am I thinking about? Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Oh yeah, I was talking about Dragon Ball games that I'd like to see come out in the future. Shuri-chan said, it's not bad, but Super Dragon Ball Heroes is dot 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 not canon, which is true. And I mean, Dragon Ball Heroes isn't canon. That's kind of the point, because at this point they just kind of do whatever they want. And then Shuri-chan said, I just like things that are canon. I mean, you can still like something even if it's not canon. I just don't care about things as much when they're not canon, but I still like them. You know what I mean? And you never know when a creator will suddenly go, oh, it's like in another reality and they all mix together. Because that's a big thing right now in like DC Comics. If you're reading like Justice League or Green Lantern, both of those books right now are like, yeah, there's like a multiverse, and with the multiverse, the Justice League right now is trying to recruit Justice League members from other universes, and Green Lantern right now has been picked up by a group of multiverse traveling Green Lanterns. Excuse me, to try and stop a multiverse level threat. But a lot of those multiverses that they're referring to originally were like their own stories or like graphic novels that were set like outside of normal continuity. So like one of the Green Lanterns that came to like get our Green Lantern is Emerald Knight, who's like Batman if he was Green Lantern kind of thing. And I may have butchered his name. I'm pretty sure his name's Emerald Knight, but I might be wrong. But if you had read the original Emerald Knight book and it was non canon, you would have been like, this is cool and I like it, but, I don't really care because Batman isn't actually Green Lantern, he just is in the story. But now that they're like, but it's crossing over and it's its own thing and it did technically actually happen and you can see him in other stories in the future, it's like, well, now it matters. You know what I mean? And then Shuri-chan said, yeah, but he yelled when he saw Ultra Instinct Goku versus Cumber. So, Cumber, I don't fully understand. I know that he's a character from Super Dragon Ball Heroes, but I haven't really been keeping up with Cumber. And I don't really know what he's capable of. Like, you know what I mean? So, I can't necessarily get hype for him. Do we know what Cumber's abilities are or anything? I feel like that'd be really helpful. Um, what other Dragon Ball game would I really want to see? I would actually really like to see something like Dragon Ball Fighters or Dragon Ball Fighter Z, depending on how you want to call it. I've heard Fighters is the correct pronunciation, but the show is called Dragon Ball Z, so it kind of always makes me want to call it Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Doesn't matter. Um, I would like a game like that, but it has character customization. You know what I mean? I want to be able to essentially have my Xenoverse and also have my legitimate fighting game. I think that'd be great. Then Kevin said Kakarot. Opinions on that game? So that's actually what started up this conversation to begin with. Shuri-chan asked me about my thoughts on Dragon Ball Kakarot, and I personally don't like Dragon Ball Kakarot. And here are my reasons why. So, it's essentially a single player RPG where you play as Goku and you travel around a big world with different loadable zones, but not an open world per se. So not necessarily an open world game, but it gives you that kind of feel. And you go around and there are random encounters and you can use members of your party to use like support attacks and stuff like that, and you play through the story of Dragon Ball Z, blah 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 blah. I don't know. To me, I don't really need to fly around a relatively empty landscape as Goku and talk to a handful of characters in like a really big sandbox. You know what I mean? I think if they had taken the same concept for like Dragon Ball Kakarot and instead called it like Xenoverse 3, and instead of playing as Goku, you played as a custom character who's lost in time. Let's say you were like a time patroller and something happened and now you have swapped places with Goku. Goku is gone, but you have to play through the events so that they go the same way as they did before, but you act as Goku. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. I like that. And then you're your own character, and you can learn different abilities from different characters, and you can have different characters in your party and use their support. Essentially the same kind of game, but with character customization. I think that would have been pretty dope, to say the least. But yeah, I think Dragon Ball Kakarot, they kind of dropped the ball on it. Shuri Chen said, I just watched Dragon Ball Super Broly 20 times. Do you have it on DVD? Shuri Chen said, Dragon Ball Legends or Dragon Ball Legends Z. Then Kevin said, sounds like creators cut some corners by not making it entirely open world. And that's true. I do feel like that's the case. At the same time, I understand why they didn't make it entirely open world, because I feel like you really don't need to see what's in between the different locations in Dragon Ball. You know, they have the big wasteland, and they have like West City, I imagine. You know, stuff like that. But you don't really need to see things other than that. So I get it. You know what I mean? Shuri Chan said it sucks it doesn't start as Dragon Ball, then Z, and then Super. Um, I do think that would be an interesting concept to like play as Goku as he grows up through all the different series. Um, Now we know that it covers the events of Z. Do we know whether or not Dragon Ball Z Kakarot will actually cover the events of Super or not? Um, it may not initially, but I could also see it covering those events as DLC. I could see that potentially being a thing. I think that'd be cool if they added DLC that covered the events of Super. That being said, would that be something that would make me buy the game? No, no, I actually wouldn't care. I wouldn't care enough to buy the game. To be honest, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, even without character customization, is a really good game. I would actually really like if they released either DLC or a sequel to Dragon Ball Fighter Z that is the story of like Dragon Ball through Super, and even as like extra missions like the movies, as just a really good fighting game. I think that would be really dope. Kevin said, "Be back in a few." Okay, see you when you get back, Kevin. Because I just think that would. There are so many games that have already done that. You know, like done like the whole story of like Dragon Ball, not of original Dragon Ball, but of like Z. There are plenty of games that cover the story of Z. But I feel like if you had a game that covered the story of like all of it and spaced it out by you playing the fights as like a really well done 2D fighter, I think that would have been really cool. And I know that Dragon Ball Fighter Z tried to make their own story and they tried to make it interesting, and I do think that the story itself is interesting, but I feel like the execution of the story was lackluster, and the continual fighting of clones I just don't really find compelling. You know, I'm not like, oh man, I really want to see Goku fight an evil clone of Krillin for like the fifth time. You know what I mean? But if they let you play through the story of all three series as a 2D fighter, and each fight was like a different main antagonist from throughout the series, I think that would have been really dope. I would have really enjoyed that. Shuri Chan is now talking about his comic. So he said in his comic universe, uh, he says it's also the Dragon Ball Z universe. So he kind of has his own non-canon Dragon Ball Z universe he's working within his comic. He said, and not only have clues that is the same universe, but also have a crossover. Okay, so Shuri Chan is like his comic that he's making takes place within his own like non-canon version of like the Dragon Ball Z universe, and that he's gonna have like characters crossover between like his comic and like the Dragon Ball comic, well, Dragon Ball manga, and that's cool. That's totally fun. Um, Fan manga and fan comics and stuff like that are fairly popular. I notice there are a lot of Dragon Ball YouTubers now who will like read and do like discussion videos and summaries based around fan manga, because that's such a popular thing right now. So yeah, that's pretty cool. If you ever wanted to do YouTube videos talking about your fan manga and like your original characters, I think people will definitely enjoy them. I do think there's a market for that for sure. Let's see. Dun 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 dun. Um, hmm. Speaking of Naruto, I was just doing the Naruto walk music or whatever. Um, I'm up to date, I believe, on the Naruto, not Naruto, Boruto manga. The Naruto manga is already over. On the Boruto manga. And I'm enjoying it so far, but I don't think it's the manga that I'm like most hype about right now. I guess I have to think to myself, what manga am I most hyped for? Hunter x Hunter, probably. I'm caught up on the Hunter x Hunter manga, and I am very eager to see what happens next. I imagine that the next chapter is still going to be progressing fairly slowly. I think the writer is either going to introduce something new and crazy to get fans speculating, or he's going to slowly expand upon something we already know. But I doubt that the next chapter is going to contain any significant reveals or anything like that. So I'm hyped for the next Hunter x Hunter manga chapter, but I don't expect too much out of it. For the next chapter of the Dragon Ball Super manga, the last chapter didn't really do much for me. It's not that it's bad or anything, but I watched a YouTuber who I felt like summarized my feelings on it very well. The YouTuber more or less said the book escalates the fight by having it take place in outer space, and then de escalates the fight and puts our heroes back at square one by the end of the book. We get some new information to know that what we thought was going to be a trump card in the end really isn't a trump card. So we did get a twist, but it's just kind of eh. I'm not super hyped for the next chapter of the Dragon Ball Super manga, but of course I'm gonna read it. Shuri-chan said Zamasu was a plot twister. He said, I thought he was a nice guy and Goku Black. He said, I didn't know it was Zamasu when the episode was out in English. Yeah, I mean, I liked the Goku Black Zamasu thing. I did think that was cool. Um, I will say that it did have me guessing when it came to like different ideas of what was gonna happen. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I really like that the Goku Black arc not only brought back Future Trunks, but also brought back Fusion. Fusion seemed like it was going to be a really big deal in the Boo arc, and then Fusion is dropped in like Battle of the Gods. It's not a thing. Well, it's weird to say dropped, but like they don't do Fusion in Battle of the Gods. They don't do Fusion in Resurrection F. And then they don't do Fusion in like the Universe 6 tournament. Like Fusion takes a back seat for multiple arcs, and then we finally get to see Fusion come back in the Goku Black arc, which I was really hyped for, because I was like, they're giving us all these transformations now, and I honestly like the idea of them getting strong to a point, and then you fuse, and then you can overcome any limits that you had individually. And I would really like it if their fusions started maybe having more forms. Like maybe when they're fused together, their potential is raised, and now they can go into further transformations. But them just getting more transformations on their own, I don't really care about. Though I do like that different characters have unique transformations that only they have achieved. I do think that's cool. But besides that, I would rather see more fusion. And the Tournament of Power arc had fusion, which I liked as well, and the Broly movie, of course, has fusion. I think it'll be interesting if fusion comes up against Moro at all. We'll have to see. Shuri-chan said, Hunter x Hunter, I hope Gon gets his Nin back. I still don't feel like it's confirmed that Gon doesn't have it forever. I don't know. Also, that's kind of spoilery. I was about to say something. I think there's a way for Gon to either get new powers or potentially get his old powers back. More than likely, I think Gon's gonna get new powers. Not gonna spoil anything, but I feel like Gon's gonna get new abilities. Shuri-chan said it took them so long to bring Kaioken and longer to do to do fusion in Dragon Ball Super. So Kaioken is something that I personally don't think I was like waiting for. I don't think I was like, man, when are they gonna do Kaioken? When are they gonna do Kaioken? When are they? I don't think I was like restless for it or anything. Is it cool that they brought it back? Yeah. Is it cool that it's like a unique Goku only transformation? Yeah, I vibe with that. Um, but I don't really need Kaioken that hard. You know what I mean? Shuri-chan then said, "Oh, Gon's mom." So I don't really know what that has to do with anything. Like Gon's mom, whatever. Um, man. So I don't know if I would ever want a Hunter x Hunter fighting game or not. I imagine it would be pretty hype, a Hunter x Hunter fighting game, but I kind of like the strategy of Hunter x Hunter fights. And I'm not saying there isn't strategy in fighting games. That would be a blatant lie. I guess if what I would want out of a Hunter x Hunter fighting game would probably be Hunter x Hunter getting the Fighter Z treatment. I think that would be really cool. Not saying that a 3D fighter would be bad or anything, um, but I guess I would like to have it be like a traditional 2D fighter. I think it would be interesting for sure. Especially if Arc System Works worked on it. Shuri Chin said, I like the Kaioken. I think the Kaioken is cool. I feel like it's something that other characters should be using now for them to be more relevant. I think it makes more sense to see like Krillin or Tien or like Master Roshi or Yamcha use Kaioken, because they suddenly I feel like they get power creeped to be able to keep up with other characters, but you wouldn't have to power creep them as much if you were like they train in like the hyperbolic time chamber or something and they have Kaioken. It'd be like, oh cool, yeah. So they could gain like a substantial increase in power through training in the time chamber and then multiply that multiple times at Kaioken. And then I can see them being not necessarily on level with anybody, but you could see them being significantly better. You know what I mean? And maybe their techniques will allow them to like overcome different threats. And then Shurichen said, "When will we see his mom?" I mean, I'm not super hype about Gon's mom. Let's see. Dun, dun. Also, did you guys know there's such a thing as anime stack exchange? That's really interesting. Do 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 do. I'm not entirely sure if we'll ever see Gon's mom, or if Gon is even really that curious about like Gon's mom. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if that matters enough to Gon for it to ever happen. Like for him to ever like meet his mom. We'd have to see. Um, but I don't. Gon's dad doesn't even seem to really be focused on Gon's mom. Yeah, I don't really care. I don't really care about Gon's mom. Unless she ends up being someone really important for no reason. I don't really care at all. Killua is my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter. I feel like he has a really solid arc in the anime. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing what he's up to in the future. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Killua is really busted now, which I like. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he's gotten his place and he's kind of earned it. Shuri Chan said, "Now I'm the only one here," and that is true. You are now the OG member of the live chat. It's weird to say OG. I mean, you are for today. You were like the first person in, so that's fair. But yeah, currently you are holding down the fort in the live chat. Do you have any questions for your boy or discussion topics you like to talk about? I'm here to discuss those. I actually was considering doing a Spider-Man PS4 stream. They have the new Spider-Man Far From Home suits out. But if I was gonna do that, I should have done that earlier. People probably would have jumped in for it too. They would have been pretty hyped to see some Spider-Man action on stream. But I guess I've been thinking more about writing than I have about streaming Spider-Man. Maybe I'll stream it tomorrow. Since I work from home, it's not really hard for me to be like, oh, well, it's 5 o'clock. Looks like I'm done with work, and then pop on that PS4. Though I think what I want to make my regular schedule will be finish work exercise, shower, and then do stuff like that. I don't think I'd want to finish work and jump right into that because I want to still make sure that I'm like going to bed on a normal schedule and waking up on a normal schedule and doing things like that. And then Sherry Chen said, "So voice impressions? I mean, I don't really think I'm good at doing voice impressions, but if you try and name a character, I can try and do an impression of a character's voice. I just feel like you're gonna be disappointed with whatever you ask." um, if I were to do a good job with any of the voices you request, I think I would be somewhat surprised. But we'll see. Feel free to hit me up. I'm still thinking about Hunter x Hunter right now. There's actually I guess a composer. There's like a very specific composer of orchestral music that I like to listen to when I read the Hunter x Hunter manga, because I feel like his musical style really fits with Hunter x Hunter. It reminds me of the style that they use in the anime without it actually being music from the anime, and I think it really pops off. I'm a fan. Do, do. If anyone wants to know who that composer is, I can like post their name in the live chat. But if no one particularly cares, then I won't go through the trouble. Do, 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 do. But yeah, Sherry Chin, you mentioned voice impressions. If you happen to have a character in particular you'd want me to do an impression of, I'd be more than happy to like try. I just don't think it will necessarily be good. I know that after this vlog, I'm gonna text with Beth for a little bit and write. Of course, I'm really excited to write out more villain and hero ideas. Still trying to figure out if that one hero I made, if I'm gonna actually use him in any of these stories. Let's see. Shuri Chen said, Megumi Han is best with Gon. So I imagine that is a voice actor, unless it's just a character. Yeah, it's a Japanese voice actress. So you prefer the Japanese dub? Shuri Chen said Megumi Han voice acts Gon for the Japanese dub. Understandable. I got that from what you said a moment ago. And then Shuri Chen said, do Vegeta's voice. I am the Prince of all Saiyans. Over 9,000. Like, I don't think I can do, like, a super good job. Kakarot? You know, it's just kind of getting into, like, a weird, I guess, like, pseudo-aggressive voice. And he has, like, a cocky arrogance to him. So you think you can defeat me, Kakarot? Nappa, you fool! You know, it's just stuff like that. um, Lord Frieza. And that one to me didn't sound like Vegeta. I was trying to do like shocked Vegeta, but I didn't really know what to do with his voice. I don't know how to do straight up cocky, arrogant Vegeta because it's a different tone. Because cocky, arrogant Vegeta is more like, stay out of the way, Trunks. But it's not gonna sound exactly like that. Something along those lines. Shuri Chan said, "Cool, not bad. Okay, I'm glad you dig it. Uh, more than happy to help you out with random impressions." Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Oh, do you have any questions, discussion topics, or character voice impressions you want me to do? I'm here for you, dude. We have like 7 minutes left in the stream, and you pretty much have control over like anything you want to ask me. You got more or less my undivided attention, other than, of course, me thinking about story ideas. I am still doing that. So, yeah, like, feel free to hit me up. I am here for you. Broly impression. Oh, goodness. It sounds like it would be more or less the same thing. I'm. So I'm in like an interesting position. I can't be too loud because my dad's home and everything. I don't want to disturb them. But I'm like, what's the difference between doing a Vegeta Kakarot and a Broly Kakarot? And it's like, well, Broly is like just kind of screaming, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't want to do that. Um, Dragon Ball Super version of Broly, or like old school movie Broly? You know, like which Broly? I don't really remember what the Dragon Ball Super Broly is like. Like I don't remember what his voice is like. Um, is it the same? Actually, I actually am not aware. Um, hmm. Kakarot. Nah, that's not Broly. That's not Broly at all. Um, I wish I knew more lines from Broly than just Kakarot. I actually don't know a non Kakarot Broly line. Like, what's something that he says? Because I don't know good Broly quotes off the top of my head. Um, I'm not sure if I could do like Majin Buu, but he does like a yeah. I mean, he goes for like a weird creepy kid thing. He said any Broly. I don't know enough of what Broly says. I know he's like, what? It's like a grunt enough, like a a weird grunt, because I don't really know. I don't know lines from Broly. I don't know what he like says in his movies. Um, hmm. I feel like Boo wouldn't be too hard. It's like me want candy, la 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 la. Like it's that kind of thing, you know. Boo's not weird. Cell goes for like a weird deep voice thing, but I don't really know how to do Cell's voice. So you think you can defeat me? Try to dodge this one. It's not deep enough, but it's the same kind of inflection. So you think you can defeat me? Try and dodge this one. See, I feel like I lost the inflection and I didn't go deep enough. So you think you can defeat me? Try and dodge this one. It's not confident or cocky enough, I think, to really like land that for like Cell. So you think you can defeat me? Try and dodge this one. Still not good enough. I don't know. I'm not hitting the deepness of Cell's voice. I feel to like really do it. What is the deepest I can do my voice? I actually don't know. If this is the deepest, it's probably not enough for Cell. Oh, so you think you can dodge this one? Die, Saiyan. Hmm. Now I've finally reached my perfect form. Sherry-chan said, I can do Cell. Oh, that's understandable. That's cool. Do you think you can truly stop me in my perfection? That's not good enough. I don't know. Cell has like a very high like cockiness to him while also keeping like that deep voice. I'm just not really there. Hmm. It appears you have a death wish. Like I can't really do Frieza either. Frieza has a very like feminine, sinister voice going on. It appears you have a death wish. Like I feel like that's the closest I really get. I imagine if I put more emotion into it, maybe. But I'm also trying to not be like too loud. Not to say that you have to be loud to be emotional, but um, I guess I'm trying not to push my luck with doing the impersonations without disturbing someone. Um, the Cybermen, I think, just kind of laugh. So they're just kind of like kind of thing. And then Shuri-chan said, I sound more like Cell when I say, perfect Cell. Oh, more like that kind of depth. Perfect Cell. Perfect Cell. Goku really thinks he can defeat me now? No. My form is absolute perfection. I feel like that was probably my best Cell impression so far, is that one. I feel like I needed to reach more of a depth. Shuri-chan said, I can train you, do voices on Amino. Understandable. If you ever wanted to share like short little voice clips on Amino of like your impersonations, feel free to do so. On that Amino. We now have 30 seconds left, so I'm about to wrap up. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Shoutouts to Sherry-chan and Kevin for tuning in today. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding, 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 ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. Thank you all once again for tuning in. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. If you guys want to get back to the channel, feel free to donate via the super chat or hit us up on Patreon. Thank you all once again for tuning in. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out, and peace. If you're interested in any of the superhero stories that I was talking about, feel free to check out my recent books, Superpower Battles Volume 1 and Volume 2 on Amazon. Peace.